If you were part of my Mythgate Media channel, and if you were actually there when I was making videos on my channel called Mythgate Media, and you know why I can't upload onto Mythgate Media, then you might be wondering, why are you remaking this video? Why are you remaking a video that you've already made, that already did pretty decent? Why are you remaking it? Well, simple. First off, I want to upload that video onto this channel, but the mic quality was so bad to where I just decided, fuck that, I'ma just remake the whole video. Second off, and this is the more important reason, I want to put that video on this channel because Mythgate Media, take a shot every time I say Mythgate Media in this video, had 18 subscribers and that video got 600 views in 6 months. That is a big amount of views, so I'm just gonna capitalize on it. That's it, nothing else. So that's what I'm doing. Now, with my more knowledge and the older I have become since that channel got taken down, which has been like 6 months, I've realized that I can actually make that video and make my points a lot better without having the chance of my YouTube channel getting taken down. So that's what I'm doing. I'm tragically redoing the video. So let's revisit the topic of why Salem's backstory is terrible. Salem's backstory is awful. It is horrid. It is terrible. It is garbage. It is dog shit. I am running out of synonyms to use. Look, I know I am late to the hating on RWBY train, especially when the series getting a volume 10 is hanging by a thread. And I know RWBY has been talked about to death at this point by literally every single soul on the planet. So I doubt there's anything new I can say that'll really change people's perspective of it. You either like RWBY or you hate RWBY, or you think the show has a lot of potential, but it's not using its potential right. And look, before I start this video, I'd like to preface that I actually do enjoy RWBY, even with all of its numerous flaws. As someone who wants to be a writer and eventually write an action series, the weapons, character designs, powers, personalities, and even how the Rooster Teeth company came to be is very useful. Even if Rooster Teeth, we don't want to talk about what happened to Rooster Teeth. And while I can sit here and criticize RWBY for hours, days, weeks, months, years, there is still a soft spot I have for it. It's like my relationship with South Park. I love South Park, one of my favorite comedy shows of all time. But I'm going to tell you the truth and say I did not like Integrity Farms. I'm not going to sit over here and lie to you just because I like a franchise. That's not how I work. I criticize things. I use my brain. I'm not going to sit around here having fun and whimsy all day. And I was stuck on what part of RWBY I wanted to make a video on. I wanted to talk about Quo's god-awful character assassination, but I decided not to because I want to rewatch RWBY first. However, I decided to set up for Salem's backstory, the worst backstory in the series. I know some people will argue that Cinder's backstory is worse, but Cinder's backstory just raises bad questions about the character herself. Salem's backstory raises questions about the entirety of the world building and how the fuck does this even make sense. But that's enough lollygagging for today. Let's just start the review. The backstory starts off shockingly pretty good. We get a solid description of who Salem is as a person. She's a reference to Rapunzel, and we learn a few things that contrast from the modern RWBY timeline. One, there are kings and queens and all that jazz.
She lived in a time when kings and their kingdoms were plentiful.
And two, magic is something everyone can wield compared to later where only the maidens can wield magic.
And magic was a gift from the gods that all could wield.
Despite whatever the fuck Glinda is doing. I can make a whole video talking about that, but this is not the topic. Salem can wield magic, so I already have my first question. Why doesn't she just break herself out of the tower? Is it heavily guarded and she can't leave? Is she just forced to be here? We don't get much information on why she's here or why she's stuck here. She can already perform magic. Why would they teach her how to do magic if they don't want her to leave the tower?
Locked away by her cruel father, Salem was a girl who desired but one thing: freedom. Freedom.
There's a lot of questions I'm already asking, but I imagine that's not that important. The point is, we gotta get from point 1 to point 2 without getting too concerned with the nitty-gritty small details. But something I noticed, I don't know, maybe they have her in a grounded spell, like, you're grounded! And now she is literally grounded inside of her tower. This backstory also introduces us to Ozma, who is also Ozpin, who is also Oscar.
Is Flowey, who also happens to be Porky from Earthbound, who's really the purple guy from FNAF.
For those of you who are unfamiliar with RWBY lore, Ozma is the first Ozpin. Basically, whenever Ozma or Ozpin or whoever dies, they get reincarnated into an existing being, and then their consciences fuse together into one being.
Until your task is complete, you will reincarnate, but in a manner that ensures you are never alone.
I know it sounds weird, but it's a fictional world. Trust me, comic books do equally weird shit. Miss Marvel had a son, husband, baby daddy one time. Shit gets weird. So Ozma manages to rescue her from the evil fortress. That I guess that's why she was stuck in there. I wish I had more information on what makes this fortress so evil, but fine. And in one of the sideshow clips, we literally see her use magic.
They escaped the wretched fortress.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
The wretched fortress.
So I guess she could always leave, but just chose not to. Maybe she was waiting to get rescued by someone. Anyway, they managed to fall in love. The narrator says Salem doesn't find her freedom in the outside world, but in the eyes of the man who saved her.
And Salem, to her surprise, found her freedom not in the outside world she had yearned for, but in the eyes of the man that had saved her.
I'm gonna be honest here, this narrator fucking sucks, and I'll get into why later. Even though it's supposed to be romantic, it actually is a little bit concerning. It's like she didn't even get to know this man. She just fell in love with him because he saved her. Like, do you even know who this nigga is? He just saved you. You don't even know if you're under new management.
We're like under new management.
But it doesn't matter because Ozma then fucking dies too. I don't know, the bubonic plague, whatever Kaido had in Danganronpa.
Ozma, the infallible hero of legend, fell ill.
That escalated quickly.
This causes us to get introduced to the two gods. There are two gods in the world of RWBY, the good god and the evil god, the god of light and the god of darkness. As the name implies, one god is holy, just, and fair. The other god is wicked, demonic, and vile. But you will soon find out that both of these gods are wicked, demonic, and vile. I know this is very rudimentary world building, but this is actually the most simplest part about RWBY's world building. So she goes to the RWBY Promised Land, and this guy who looks like Omni-Man and Wendigo had butt sex, gave birth to a child.
You're the retarded offspring of 5 monkeys having butt sex with a fish squirrel. Congratulations.
He walks on water because he's a Jesus allegory, I guess. And she asks God, please bring my dead husband back, because she loves her husband. And guess what this jackass says?
I understand your pain, but you demand of me that which I cannot make so. Life and death are part of a delicate balance.
Dude, you made the balance. You can break the balance. And then he talks about this damn cycle that he created and says how he can't disrupt it even though he is literally God.
To disrupt the cycle of...
That's not fair. That's not fair!
She gets rightfully upset and then he has the gall to say, let him rest. Dude, he died to some fucking uncurable disease. What do you mean, let him rest? Yeah, of course she's going to fight for her husband to come back. Then she decides, fuck it, I'm gonna just go to the god of darkness who has a skeleton on his front steps. I'm mentioning this for later, but I think you should get a cleanup crew who just has a skeleton on their front steps. Is this aura? Is it IQ too high moment? I don't know what I'm saying. Clearly he is responsible for the Grimm, which are a monster that attacks people in RWBY. And nobody ever goes to visit the god of darkness. I guess MCR, Emos, and Mr. Black Darkness 666 don't exist in the world of RWBY. Anyway, the darkness god does what her dick of his brother won't do and brings Ozma back from the dead. I'm surprised Salem is the first person to ever talk to the darkness god. Clearly a lot of people have a lot of dead loved ones, and it didn't take a lot to make this guy just agree to do it. Like, he was very easily convinced, but nobody has ever considered going to Satan for help. I mean, the dark god. Then the god of light posted up like fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi. The god of fucking life goes to kill Ozpin. I kid you not. The god of life tries to kill Ozpin to keep order. Then he is brought back from the dead in like a seesaw motion, and the two of them start clashing.
You dare enter my domain and show such disrespect!
I am abiding by the rules we agreed upon.
Because despite them both having infinite wisdom, they can't just talk it out. Then the God of Light starts boasting about how he was the first person Salem came to meet, and how he is just the secondary option, like it's a fucking custody battle.
This woman came to you only after I denied her pleas.
Then they both agree, forget it, we're just going to kill Ozma.
Allow me to correct my mistake.
They just both agree to do that. The God of Life is also a Chinese dragon now, which doesn't make a lot of sense in my opinion. Yeah, I know in RWBY that all the characters are meant to be different mythological creatures. I get that. Fairy tales and mythos and all of that jazz. But making this guy a Chinese dragon just seems so random. He had antlers. It just seems like they decided to roll the wheel of fictional monsters to use and it landed on Chinese dragon. The God of Light keeps talking about the balance because Ozma is alive, and apparently Ozma being alive would tear the RWBY multiverse apart. The God of Light then says the funniest shit on the planet.
When you first came to me, I did pity you, but it is clear now that your selfishness and arrogance have led you astray.
I pitied you, my ass. You didn't pity her for shit. Nigga, her husband died to a disease you allowed to run rampant. The way he delivered this tone is just so condescending. It doesn't even sound like he's being genuine. Then out of an act of pure sadism, they decide that they're both just going to make her immortal so that she can never talk to her husband in the afterlife.
I have made you immortal.
You cannot die. You cannot be with your beloved.
Why? What's the point of this? Then they tell her she must learn the importance of life and death so then she can rest.
You must learn the importance of life and death. Only then may you rest.
Huh? So these two omnipotent and powerful gods are going to make a woman a widow and then punish her for wanting her husband back by making her immortal so she can learn the lesson of life and death? None of this makes any sense. Why would you make a woman immortal so she can learn the importance of life and death? What makes her so special to the point where she has to learn this lesson? If the intention of this story is to make us not like the gods, then have them be portrayed as Homelander. But no, they're just portrayed as gods who have to punish Salem because she went too far, apparently. Alright, I have a theory that I want to talk about and I should get it out the way now. It's very clear that the God of Darkness is jealous of the God of Light because the God of Light gets more customers and more attention. That's why he was so giddy on giving Salem whatever she wanted. I guess if he cleaned the skeletons off his staircase and removed the evil-ass Grim, people would approach him normally, and he would have more fans. Also, I thought that nobody has visited the God of Darkness, so who does the skeleton belong to anyway? My main complaint is these two have horrible synergy. One second they're about to clash, and the next second they both decide to shit on a woman.
I am abiding by the rules we agreed upon.
I have made you immortal.
You cannot be with your beloved.
And despite their infinite wisdom, they do some of the dumbest shit around. And the show even admits it themselves that Salem turned these two gods against each other.
Perhaps the gods were not as powerful as they seem. She had lied to them, turned them against one another. They were fallible.
Which might make you think, wow, this shows how intelligent and crafty Salem is. But really it just shows how dumb these two gods are. They're just incompetent. Again, that's not good writing, that's just lazy writing. In character for them, you don't understand. The gods are supposed to be stupid. The question is, but why are they stupid? They created all of humanity and presumably everything on this planet. So why are they stupid? Furthermore, how did they get tricked this easily? I hope the people who are inevitably trying to defend this by saying, oh, the gods are supposed to be stupid, that's in character for them. Not all gods are depicted as intelligent, that's the point. They just created humanity, but they're not supposed to be smart, that's the point. That's the intent. I want you to know how complex the human body is. The human body is so complex that if a god was able to create it, it would have to be the smartest being in existence. Same thing with animals, same thing with plants, same thing with how the planets are aligned, with how the stars are aligned. The world is so complex, and in the world of RWBY that has 50 different things going on, you'd have to imagine that the beings who created this world are intelligent enough to know how this world would operate. They can't be stupid. It would make no sense for them to be stupid, because they were able to do all of this. So how did they get tricked like this? It's just lazy and poor writing and not well thought out. So anyway, she goes through all the kingdoms and convinces the kings and queens that she stole immortality from the gods.
Salem traveled from one kingdom to another, telling tales of how she stole immortality from the gods. She painted them pictures of a time when they would no longer have to watch their loved ones wither and die.
So, objectively and canonically, Salem restored peace to the Middle East. Anyway, she tells them that they have the chance to get their loved ones back. And everybody gets excited because who wouldn't want to see their loved ones back? I want to see Monty Owen back. And then the narrator has the nerve to say,
She learned that the hearts of men are easily swayed.
the hearts of man are easily swayed. Nigga, what are you talking about? Hey, I want to get my loved ones back. Yeah, you can get your loved ones back. The hearts of man is easily swayed. She makes it sound like you not wanting the ones you love to die. It's like a bad thing, and how what? You should want your loved ones dead. What are you complaining about? Why would you want them back? Salem then gathers her army, and then our all-powerful gods ask the people who have led you down this path.
Who has led you down this path?
Wait, so are they not omniscient? I'm confused. I thought they would know. The god of light literally appeared as soon as Ozma got revived by the evil god. So, I don't know how he didn't know about this. And, of course, jumping down the sky as a giant dragon can be seen as a field tactic, not a tactic of love. I mean, imagine literally any other religion or anywhere else where you pray to a god, and then a fucking dragon falls down from the sky. What the heck? At least in the Bible, the angel said, "Do not fear me." So like, at least that helps out some. This might also explain why the god of darkness doesn't have any fans. Maybe he wants to be more feared than loved. Or maybe I'm just putting way too much thought into this. Maybe I'm actually just a moron. I don't know. I don't know. Wait a minute, I thought the gods would be happy that humanity has united.
If you demand our blessings while still fighting amongst yourselves.
Unless they want the humans to engage in wars, death, and famine. I don't know, these gods are man-children and are so poorly written. As for the proof when they are attacked by the humans, they don't try to rationalize, they don't try anything. They just decide, fuck it, we're going to eradicate the whole world.
My own gift to them, used against me.
Fucking crying, bitch! Where? I don't wanna fucking hear.
And they wipe out everything. Literally everything. Not even the people who were there. They just decided, nope, we're gonna wipe it all away. Like a kid flipping a chessboard when they lose. Then they called this an experiment and how they will learn from their mistakes.
This planet was a beautiful experiment. We will learn from this failure.
What are you talking about? The mistake here was being stupid, but they decide to leave the planet, not without saying some smug shit first.
Come back!
Still demanding things of your creators.
And then they destroy the moon for literally no reason. But that explains why the moon is destroyed in RWBY. I wonder if there was another show where the moon is destroyed and if they took inspiration for this. And this narrator is pissing me off. So anyway, Salem decides that she's just here alone. Yo, Salem is still alive, but all of humanity is wiped out because she needs to learn the importance of life and death. Not any of the other people who opposed. The gods, just Salem. Only Salem gets to live. The rest of them, this whole crowd, you're not. They're cool. They just get to die a painful death. But like, Salem, she gets to live because, of course, she has to live. None of these other people have to learn that lesson though, just Salem. And the narrator says,
She cursed the gods. She cursed the universe. She cursed everything. Everything but herself.
dude, let's be fucking for real here. The gods wiped out every human, including the humans who were just chilling. How is Salem the unreasonable one? Because she did the worst thing. She did the worst possible thing, which is retaliate against two oppressive and childish man-baby gods with powers and anger management issues. Why are the writers trying to make me believe that Salem is in the wrong and that she is being completely irrational when I can totally get with her? Is this the god's equivalent of she's on her period? Like, you know when a woman is mad and a man says she's just on her period? Is this like that, but instead the gods are saying, oh, don't mind her, she's just mourning her dead husband. Anyway, she realizes that if the pool of life made her immortal, then jumping in the pool of death would make her, well, you know what that would mean. And she decides to jump into the metaphorical Lazarus pit, hoping to die. But instead, she gained powers.
Mortality. Then surely the pools of Grimm would finally take it away. It created a being of infinite life with a desire for pure destruction.
Ooh, that's interesting. Now, you might be considering, okay, this is how the backstory ends, considering how they've explained Salem. But nope, in fact, this would be a horrible place to end the backstory. But I would prefer if it ended here, because it keeps going, and it gets worse. And whoever thought of this next idea shouldn't be allowed in a writer's room ever again. They bring Ozma back from the dead. The man who they said they would not bring back, Ozma, the man whose death caused this huge issue, Ozma, that Ozma, they want to bring that Ozma back from the dead. The gods have departed from this world because they're on drugs and they just aren't allowed on it anymore, I guess. Maybe Salem is too powerful? I don't know, the story doesn't say why the gods can't come back, they just can't come back. Instead of just trapping Salem in a cell or on a planet or doing literally anything else, they just decided to fuck off.
I'm afraid a tragedy has befallen your home at the hands of my brother. Chosen to depart this world.
Good riddance.
I don't understand.
I don't understand it either. See, now Ozma, the man who they brought back from the dead despite saying they weren't going to bring him back from the dead, needs to go on this adventure where he collects these 4 relics.
Creation, destruction, choice, and knowledge.
And the gods will then return. What's stopping them from coming back? I don't know, the story doesn't say why, but just turn your brain off, dude, it's a cartoon. These 2 gods will return to the world like Shinron and they will judge humanity. If humanity is worth saving, then they will save it. However, if humanity is not worth saving, they will just wipe out the planet. Again, I guess.
And humanity will be judged. But if your kind is unchanged, if you demand our blessings while still fighting amongst yourselves, then man will be found irredeemable, and your world will be wiped from existence.
Even though they already did that, what is this story about? Not even to be that guy, but the humans already set aside their differences. They literally came together to fight the gods, so they can have their loved ones back. They know that. That is why they left. The gods left because the humans united against them. Let me get this straight. Humanity came together and you were displeased because now there is no more humanity? I'm confused. Is it me? Am I the problem? Please, someone in the comments, let me know if I'm the issue, if I'm the problem. I need to know.
But if your kind is unchanged, if you demand our blessings while still fighting amongst yourselves, then man will be found irredeemable.
Newsflash, moron. Being a god is a lot of responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. It is completely irrational to not expect humans to ask for favors when you have a literal pool of life and the golden tree behind you. and you allow people to come to you. Obviously, you have some responsibility. What are you saying?
Shut the fuck up.
If Ozma doesn't collect the relics, humanity doesn't have the gods and everything is just as they are. If Ozma does collect the relics, humanity has a chance to fail the judgment test and be destroyed. Why would Ozma collect the relics? Why are we even bothering with them? In our current time, Team RWBY is only getting the relics so Salem doesn't get them. But why does Salem want the relics? Is it to kill the gods? I'll go more into detail later, but I feel like this is a good question to ask. Ozma rejects the offer because his wife isn't there.
That world just isn't as dear to me without her.
Husband of the year, I guess. The gods tell him Salem is still alive, but he wouldn't like how she turned out. But Ozma is like, hell yeah, I'ma go see my wife.
Our creation rests within your hands.
Oh, yeah, no pressure, by the way, though. Wait. Okay. If you already cut the problem with this backstory, good job. You are a hell of a lot smarter and self-aware than the writers were when they were making this shit. Why did Salem go to the gods to get her husband back, only for the gods to say, no, you can't have him back, move on, only for them to bring him back anyway? Why did we go in circles? Why did we do any of this? Didn't the humans send Ozma on this grand quest on a planet that has humans?
Where am I?
Why are there humans here? Did the gods decide to drop some? Did Salem give birth to them? What is going on with this story? Why are they contradicting themselves so much? I thought the gods wiped out humanity.
You do not understand. There is no one left.
Did they bring back humanity just for Ozma's quest? What are we doing here? What are we doing? I'm getting angry about the script. I wrote the script. Why am I mad? They told her you can't have him back, and they told her they refused to bring him back, only for them to do it anyway. They do it anyway. This writing is just circular. It just explains why Ozma and Salem are immortal to very poor degrees, but that's it. It makes me question the world building. And before some RWBY fan says, they brought Ozma back because he was the greatest warrior, that is total nonsense. Because they wouldn't need to bring him back if they didn't make this trap for themselves to begin with. Just imprison Salem, just put her somewhere else, or just give up the humanity idea altogether, or use a different person for this quest but make them a lot more good at fighting, or don't leave the planet you created because of a little backlash. And this is intentional because the narrator deliberately wants us to make Salem seem like the bad person. They do say this new world is unfamiliar to Ozma. There are now these creatures known as faunus locked in cages, because of course the faunus are here.
Creatures known as the faunus bore fangs and claws and were locked away in cages.
And now there's this element called dust, because of course dust is here.
And without the blessing of the gods, no one could perform magic like mankind was once capable of.
I can make a whole video about these two topics, but why would I bother with that? Anyway, Ozma learns about the witch and assumes it's his wife because, duh, and goes to talk to her. And let's be honest, she's even more attractive now. Yacht. Bro, she got that complete demon witch feel. Oh my goodness, baddie alert. Anyway, Ozma and Salem catch up.
Salem, fearing Ozma would reject her, blamed the end of the world on the gods.
And find out that the world is worse than the one they are from because it's literally godless and no one is here to guide them.
This world is quite literally godless. These humans have no one to guide them.
I have to disagree, Salem. I don't think the god of light or the god of darkness were that good of gods to begin with to guide them. They didn't leave these guys anything. There wasn't a book, there wasn't a manual, there was nothing. They just sat on their asses flying around like dragons doing whatever the fuck they felt like while humanity was literally fighting wars. But Salem proposes that they become gods since they are literally immortal and create a utopia for everyone.
We could become the gods of this world. Our powers surpass all others. Our souls transcend death. We can mold these lands into whatever we want. What you want.
Which makes sense. Might as well. Then the narrator says the hearts of men are easily swayed.
The hearts of men are easily swayed.
See, this is a callback. I know that writers probably thought this line was fucking brilliant. Probably laughing, probably high-fiving each other and giving each other thinking this was Shakespeare level writing with that callback. But no, Salem's plan already makes a lot of sense. They are the strongest, they are immortal, and Salem has already united humanity once. For all intents and purposes, they are gods and they're the most influential beings here. Why would you just not do that? Salem's idea was far better than going on a duckhead to bring back these two pretentious dickheads. But I digress. Let's just speed this up. Salem and Ozma become king and queen and they start to rule the world. They then have 4 kids who are maidens, and the maidens themselves are effectively immortal, but they more so reincarnate. But that's not important. What's important is what happens next. In an incredibly nonsensical plot twist, Salem starts a war in order to spread the word of her power.
You said we needed to bring humanity together. In order to do that, we have to spread our word and destroy those who will deny it.
Again, I don't know why she needs to start a war considering the fact how she already united humanity without needing to start one, but okay. This just feels out of character for Salem and kind of random. She already united humanity once, why does she need to do all this to unite them again? The same Salem who brought everyone together, this does not feel in character for her. And she also was upset about the fact that her loved one died. Why would she want to create more dead loved ones? Where did this come from? They only did this so Salem can be evil. They did this shit with Salem and then they did this shit with Ironwood later on. Why did the writers need to try so hard to make the characters who are already interesting become villains? And if it's the evil black ooze that made her evil, then it goes back to the fault of the gods, because why the fuck did they not board this shit up? They just have this evil ass black ooze that can turn you into a witch out in the open? Whose idea was this? Whose idea was this? Then Ozma tells Salem the truth about the relics and everything else, and Salem then says none of that matters, which is true. If you don't collect the relics, the gods don't show up, so why bother collecting them? But now Salem is one-dimensional and evil, and she wants to destroy humanity or something. So Ozma must deny. I haven't mentioned it yet, but this damn green mist transition has been used at least 17 times.
A joyous occasion was short-lived.
It's just so lazy. Why do they keep using this shit? I wonder if I can make like an entire video themselves of just counting how many times this transition was used. Anyway, Ozma tries to sneak out with the kids because he'd do that for some reason, but Salem stops him. Salem and Ozma then have a slideshow fight. Action show, everybody. I guess all of the budget went into animating the out-of-place Chinese dragon. Ozma, of course, loses to Salem, and now he has to go on a horrible quest of life and death. If humanity wants to be united, it must do one thing, which is
he had to destroy Salem.
This shit looks like a fault. This genuinely looks like RWBY just farted everywhere. Stop using this damn green mist transition. It's not good. Stop using it.
Tra-la-la!
Frankly, I don't know how he thinks bringing the relics back will suddenly stop war. War was still going on even when the gods were around. So I don't get this argument of like, oh, everything would be better if the gods were here. No, things still suck with the gods here. What are we doing? In fact, in the modern RWBY timeline, there are literally less wars going on. There is no war happening in the modern RWBY timeline. They don't mention it anyway. There's no big battle going on. Maybe there's one happening in Vacuum or any of the other places we haven't gone yet. But no big battles going on. So I don't get this take of like, if the gods were here, humanity would be so much better. Salem has done more for humanity than these gods ever have. I just let her do her thing. But I think it is sad we can't beat Salem. Hear me out. Because honestly, the world is much cooler without these two gods. Think about it. Back when the gods were there, it was like just some sort of generic traditional medieval setting with magic. With the gods gone, we have dust, faunus, semblance, aura. Like, there's way more shit to walk around with here. Way cooler. We have way much cooler shit now without the gods. Sure, the Grimm are here, but the Grimm already existed before everything else. So why would we even want the gods back? I can't even be bothered with this though, because in the next episode, Quo punches Oscar, and that's a topic for a different time. Anyway, let's recap. A woman's husband dies and she goes to the god of light who babbles about protecting the cycle he created. So then she goes to the god of darkness who fulfills her wishes, but uh-oh, he wasn't supposed to do that. And then these two fight because they're a bunch of petty but that's not the issue. As retaliation for her wanting to see her husband back from the dead, they make her immortal, like the opposite of the movie Saw. Then they leave her on a planet and bring her husband back from the dead anyway, because he needs to collect the relics so they can come back that they already left. Then Salem becomes evil out of nowhere and gets what she wanted anyway. This is very contrived and convoluted. What are we doing here? Salem wants the relics now because Ozma wants them, and maybe she wants to lure him out. I think that's the possibility. Maybe that's why she wants the relics. All in all, I give this backstory a 0 out of 10. This was horrendous, and this is just garbage. But I have one last sentence. One more thing I want to say. This transition sucks. Stop using it.